Thank you for joining me as TMI Tuesday. And quickly, we're looking at the EDHA impasse and the National Assembly intervention and its impact. You agree with me that there's issues about the EDHA leadership tussle has been on, and sometimes it seems like it's deepening and not having a way of being abated. Well, discussing this vital, interesting topic with me, I have an array of personalities, starting from my extreme left. I have a notary public of Nigeria, custodian of the law, Olaiwola Afolabi. Many thanks for coming.
Thank
Olaiwola
you,
Afolabi.
Philip.
Also, next to him is another custodian of the law, a legal practitioner, and he is the General Overseer of God's Chapel of Refuge. He is a clergyman also, Rotimi Egagi. Thank you for coming, sir.
You are blessed. You are welcome.
Next, I have another custodian of the law. There's an array of barristers, and he is A.B. Thomas. Thank you for coming, A.B. Thomas.
Good morning.
I have a handshake with you. You extend it to others. All right, so let me start with you, Olaiwola Afolabi. We've been following events as it unfolds over the ADHA impasse, and the social media platform seems not to be helping issues. And even just some days back, the state chairman of APC, Asem Jeswa, did say that even the National Assembly intervention seems not to be helping issues about resolving the crisis. What do you make of these developments?
Well, the first thing I want to say is that as far as we know, as far as I know as a lawyer, there is a proper Edo State House of Assembly. Some will not like it, some will not like it. That's their own problem. And those aggrieved people like Washington Sifo, Crossberry-Bo, Doro, they have gone to court to challenge it. So let's go for the court. And the people don't know. There's one thing people need to know, because this is a public affair. If you look at Section 94 of the Constitution, says that before you can be sworn in as a member of any state of assembly, you must have declared your assets. You must have gone to code of conduct. Yesterday you saw it's in the Vanguard or in some papers. Keyamo went to declare code of conduct. You must declare conduct before the clerk will swear you in. So as far as I know, those some of them who are now in Abuja, they are logging Abuja, what they are doing. They are not declared the assets. After you have declared assets, before you cannot be sworn in by the clerk, it's a constitutional provision.
Okay, but the issue holding them now is the aspect of the proclamation that they say was not rightly done.
No, what I'm saying, after the governor, which he has done, and what I'm saying, after the governor has done the proclamation, the clerk is a mandate duty. You cannot swear them in until you follow the sequence.
Okay.
You must declare your assets. Let them show the assets. Those that are in the house, they declare the asset, code of conduct, then they will not show the clerk. After that, the clerk will not swear you in.
So that's a big issue.
When in court, that's the issue. To me, even the clerk, the clerk will not pay anybody's salary. If you are not done, you are not performed those things. Clerk, you should not pay them. When they are hungry, they'll come back. You must fulfill that condition. It's there. You can show it. Section 94 of the Constitution is there. You must have fulfilled. You must pass through the code of conduct. You now show, oh, I've got the code of conduct. This is my document. Then the clerk is under duty. If you have not done that one, the clerk will not swear you. You are not to salary.
Okay. Well, that seems to still be having issues that could worsen the crisis. Now, Barrister Rotimi Egagi, the whole aspect about the proclamation, and just yesterday it was published on Vanguard newspaper that the president gave a directive to the governor to issue a fresh proclamation on Edo State House of Assembly, but that was again quickly refuted by the special advisor to the governor on media and communication strategy, Osagie Crusoe, saying that that publication, that announcement, that news was false. Now, how do you see all of these issues about development that seem to affect the resolving of this crisis?
In fact, it's very embarrassing at this stage of our democracy. We are still literally about issues like this. It's a very clear issue because the governor, as it were, have made a proclamation, and there is no way it's said that he should make another one. He's not supposed to keep making proclamations over one House of Assembly. Like my colleague said, after that proclamation, it is the duty of the House of the Clerk to make sure that the others are sworn in, if they fulfill the mandatory requirements.
The mandatory requirement,
Yes.
including the aspect of the declaration of their assets.
Of course, of course. So if they are saying that the president makes such a statement, of course, I cannot labor on that because it's already refuted.
Yes, of course.
That nothing like that, went on. What I feel is going on now is that the governor himself and the people who are claiming that they were not sworn in should come to a compromise, because the issue of divide and rule will also not help matters. These people belong to one party in the first place, and they should be kind enough to sit at a round table and sort their differences, because they are already affecting the whole state. It's affecting the generality of the people and the country at large. It's very unfortunate that this kind of thing is taking place and is happening in those states. We are expecting by now, even those who are making claim that they have not been sworn in, they ought to by now be able to come out with a very good and cogent reasons why things are the way they are.
Okay. While we still look at that, let's come to you, A.B. Thomas. This aspect of the fake news and the whole issue about the president giving a directive, which was declared false. But let's look at it. Does the president have the constitutional powers to issue such a directive?
Straight away before I finish,
Yeah.
the president of Nigeria does not have any constitutional powers to direct a component state. Look, for God's sake, we are still in a federation. We are in a democracy. Our president could have done that in 1984-85 when he was a military man. But now that he has agreed to be bound by the Constitution of Nigeria, the Constitution says the governor shall transmit a letter for the proclamation of the House of Assembly. That's all. It didn't say letters. Some of these people who are, in quotes, government pickings, there are lawyers among them. They have never gone to court to conduct one case. All they do is to rely on government to survive all their life. They should be honest with themselves to look at the interpretation of the Constitution. Can the governor make two proclamations? The answer is no.
That's what the Constitution provides?
Just one letter. You cannot make two.
Okay, whereby in the case where there's to clear some ambiguity.
Look, only the court, I repeat, only the court can direct a governor. If the president, though it has been denied, if the president of Nigeria had made such an order, I won't be surprised. Because the president himself, and this their own government of APC, has been ambivalent on issues of rule of law. They choose and pick which law to obey. So if the president has done such a thing, I won't be surprised. But I can tell you straight away that the president of the country does not have power to direct a governor to go and make a second proclamation. One, having been made. Two, the Constitution did not state at what time of the day you can swear in members. Three, those people,
Are you by that saying that it can be during night hours or
I am the one
what they
telling
call
you.
unholy
I
hours?
am telling you what is unholy. The politicians are not one. When they hold their meetings, have you seen politicians do meeting in the afternoon? Are they not nocturnal? It's not night they do their meetings. So if the clerk chooses to swear them in at 9 o'clock and they are present and they have fulfilled the conditions, like declaring of the assets for the code of conduct, it becomes legal. And who decides whether it is legal or not? Is it those who are outside?
No.
They are legislators elect. They have no local standard to challenge who is the speaker or whether it was properly done or not until they are sworn in.
Okay.
So for now, they are members elect.
Let's look at the angle of the House of Representatives,
Yes.
which came up with a resolution before now that 1 week ultimatum is given to the governor for the proclamation.
Yes.
And then now we have another 3 weeks added to it, making it a month.
Yes.
Where does that stand in the provision of
I'm
the
sorry, let me just
Constitution?
clear the air because on my learning, I had interaction with the clerk and he denied that they were sworn in, not even in the night, in the afternoon, in the assembly. So,
Okay, what he's also saying that is that even if it happens in the night,
in the night, but what I'm saying,
The law is not against it.
Yeah, what I'm saying, it never happened in the night. It happened the day.
okay.
So all those people, if you were saying, let them bring the video. It's there. We're in court already.
Okay, we passed that
I'm applying for the deputy that is in court.
We
But
passed that stage.
then
We're looking at the constitutional provisions
Yes.
as it relates to
You know,
the National Assembly now coming in
Let me tell you one thing I have to say.
as it pertains to the proclamation, because you said the Constitution provides that proclamation is once.
It's once.
And so where comes the angle of the House of Rep?
No, let me tell you, there are cases in court already. And some of the cases are even against the House of Rep. When the case is in court, we are lawyers. Every party should abstain from any action that will interact or interfere with the case in court.
Was the National Assembly cited as
Of
part
course,
of the
now,
party?
they're there. There's a case in federal court where the PJ of the federal court restrained them. Also, there's another ruling in Port Harcourt. They are aware. That's why you see that there will be condemnation against them. That's what they knew. Look at Edwin Clark. He condemned them. Many people have condemned the action. You are not in Banana Republic. You cannot control. You have power over the state. That's the issue. We are saying.
Are you saying by that order given by the court, the aspect of the House of Assembly using the constitutional provision like they say, as Section 11 of the 1999 Constitution
Yes.
is amended, subsection 4,
Yes.
that they cannot do that?
They cannot, when the case is in court, you cannot. You must wait for the outcome of the court. That's why they have problems now. Why? Because now even the Senate has now come in and they're not happy. Because on your own, you can't say want to take over.
Mr. Afolabi, just 1 minute. Just
Yes.
Let me quickly chip in something. I'm sorry. Excuse me. By the rules of the House of Reps, by the rules of the National Assembly, their own rules, whether they are a party to a case or not, once the case is already in court, it's subsidized. They don't debate it. They don't discuss it. That's one. 2, the Constitution says the National Assembly shall take over the proceedings of a House of Assembly of a state where the House of Assembly cannot conduct its affairs. The House of Assembly in those states is functional. Whether there are 4 people, 5 people, 10 people, it is functional. Therefore, National Assembly has no powers to take over. Because the Constitution says if they cannot perform their duties, they are performing. Thirdly, the House of Reps was teleguided in rushing into the affairs of those states. Why? The law says National Assembly shall take over. It did not say one arm of National Assembly. And the House of Reps is just 1, not 2. And the House of Reps is now in a conundrum. They've now found themselves in a cul-de-sac. They cannot easily recluse themselves now. Okay. Having done the wrong thing, they rushed in because they were teleguided by somebody. Now, the Senate is not happy with them. The Senate is also now saying, we are sending people here, they send people here. So, where does their 1 week ultimatum?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Back to you,
Yes,
Afolabi.
just to add to what my listener has said.
Yes.
You see, look at now, the State Assembly, a new about 4 commissioner of a commissioner was sworn in. After they were screened by the State Assembly. So can you not say the House is not working? The House is functioning. As I said, we even now, any moment from now, we are going to send a petition to EFCC against those members that came from House of Rep. They came by charter flights. Who paid for that flight? This is not the House of Rep.
Okay, we also...
I'm coming. Those that came, they came by charter flights. By next week, a petition will be sent to EFCC. It is not just about that pay. That money came from somewhere. We are sending a letter to the EFCC. We want to investigate them. How they come with that money? So it's not the House of Rep. We have found out the accountant, the clerk. That will not come from the House of Rep. It came from somebody who bought it. That's why by next week we are going to send a petition to the EFCC to investigate them. 2.
Thank you.
No, I'm coming.
Okay.
I'm not finished. 2. That's why there are problems now. Just my last thing I said, it is the National Assembly. National Assembly, the center now, they are doing their own now. That's what I'm saying. Is by next week, the whole team will have a petition will be written. We'll send it. Who pay for the flight? Somebody pay it. You'll see. Let's wait.
Okay, thank you. This is democracy, and some will say this is Nigerian kind of democracy. Now, let's look at the aspect where there seem to be clashes between the organs of the government. Take, for instance, the National Assembly, in this case, intervening into this crisis in the House of Assembly, despite the fact that there is a subsistent order from the court. Now, how can this be unraveled in terms of when there are clashes between these organs, the judiciary and the legislature? Who then intervenes?
When there are crises between any of the organs of government, the court is always the body to be resorted to.
It takes preeminence?
Yes, of course. That is their duty.
Does that make
the executive has their duty?
Does that make the judiciary above board in terms of...
No, does not put them above board. Oh. They are simply doing their, exercising their rights.
Because they interpret the laws?
Yes, as per the Constitution. Before the intervening of the House of Assembly, National House of Assembly, they ought to have looked closely to the Constitution and be careful of coming into this matter. In fact, their intervention has created more crisis. Because I am shocked, I'm surprised that the matter already, in court, the process is ongoing. The National Assembly would have been patient enough to allow the decision of the court. Coming in at this time is trying, I don't know, they are trying to dance to the political conga of certain set of people. In the first instance, who invited them? Was it the executive? Or those who are already sworn in?
But don't forget that this is a crisis
members of the House of Assembly.
Don't forget this is a crisis within the party. And so that could give room for that possibility for them to intervene into the crisis.
If it's within the party, they would have called them on party level and discussed this matter. But no, what they are doing now, the letter is not to the party. It's not among the party. They are coming in to, they are already coming to infiltrate into the system that is already working. If they have internal issues, they should settle it internally. It should not be brought publicly. It should not be a thing that officially they are coming to do a thing that the Constitution is strictly against.
Okay, going forward, do you think all of these issues could be leading towards the gubernatorial race for 2020?
Of course. I think what led to this crisis in the first place is because of the gubernatorial race that is, that will be coming up very soon. Otherwise, there is no need for this crisis at all. They are all working towards the next election.
Okay, your viewpoint on that?
Look, the cause of this crisis is simply that we have a governor.
Okay, but don't forget that we can't speculate.
I am not speculating. We have a governor who has the people's welfare in his mind. And we also have politicians who have taken politics as an occupation, not a vocation. I am 33 years at the bar. I cannot see myself today to now say politics is my occupation. My occupation is legal practice. So when you create government pickings, in quotes, people want to live on government. And the government says, look, I'm a technocrat. I'm not that kind of politician. The money that comes to the state, I want to judiciously use it for the betterment of the state. And some people are saying, no, we put you there. You must give us our share. We share. We share. Which unconstitutional share do you want? Let them go and find work to do. Afolabi goes to court. I go to court. He's a man of God. He has his own calling. Let everybody go and find work to do. Leave government alone. The moment a governor comes into office, allowing to govern. Today they call me PDP, tomorrow they call me APC. I don't care what they call me. I'm a lawyer. If not because court are not sitting now, I would have been in court. Many of them are lawyers. Can they wear their wig and gown and conduct one case? It is because of this hunger for continuous government patronage that is making them to threaten the governor that you won't get 2020 tickets. Are you the one to decide it? Let them go and find what happened to Otedola in Lagos during the NRC SDP period, when the people decided to vote against the candidate of SDP because SDP did not put the house in order, and there was protest votes against the SDP candidate. Look, we are in a state that is enlightened. They shouldn't take us as one Zamfara or one other state. We are educated here. Whether you are in APC or you are in Panadol or PDP, we don't care. All we want is a performing governor. If the governor is performing, you don't threaten him with a 2020 bid. After all, when Oshobola came, first and foremost, was he in ACN? He was in Labour. Before he cross-carpeted from Labour to ACN, and he was elected as a governor. So what stops Obaseki from going to Labour or anywhere to be elected? You can't threaten that man with 2020. Let them go and look for a job. This is stomach infrastructure.
Okay, we are all here to look at ways forward in terms of...
The way forward is
Yes,
simple.
yes.
The way forward is simple. If two people are fighting, we have, by God's grace, a constitution. We have legislature, we have executive, we have judiciary. The present crisis is not intra-party, within the party.
Yeah.
If these people have been conscious about governance, they created the same problem in 2015. For 6 months, there was no governance. They were fighting among themselves in National Assembly. They were also fighting who should be speaker, who should be president of the Senate. Look, all they need to do, if they can't put their house in order, they should approach the courts. And the courts are there to determine issues between warring parties. Where you are dissatisfied with the judgment of the first court, luckily for us, we have appellate system. You go to the appellate court, like Court of Appeal. If you are still dissatisfied, you go to Supreme Court. And if you are dissatisfied, take your case to God.
Okay, what do you make of the position of the president in all of this?
No, I'm coming. There is one issue my learning snow raised that about the 2020. Let me tell you one thing. I never voted for Obaseki. I voted for Zayamo last time. But now, everywhere, you conduct survey, you will see that Obaseki is very popular. Go everywhere you see road. Normally road, see people is going on. And one thing I like this man, he won't go out to be checking roads. He won't go there. In law,
his computer.
Wait, in law, we call res ipsa locutor. He speak for himself. Even PDP, many of them, they see this man. Anywhere go, just look at now. Anywhere, go to Jerry, go to anywhere. Close me. If by grace of God, the man will spend his 8 years, I will vote for him.
I will vote for him.
I will vote because I have no choice. And let me tell you, the only thing the only people who have gone on is that the man is too good. That's the people we have with him. Anywhere. So it's not by I'm not coming here. Opposite can give me cover. I don't use money.
Okay.
But he's working. Wait, I'm coming back to the question. Is it not working? Answer me.
Let's look at
your question.
No, answer me.
Let's look at the way
answer
forward.
me first. Is it working?
He can answer you, please.
All right.
God bless you, I know.
Let's look at the way forward,
Yes.
Afolabi.
The way forward,
How do we resolve
sincerely,
this?
is that the national chairman of our party, of the party, he's going to boss Obaseki. When people condemn him, he say, I believe in Obaseki, and Obaseki will perform more than me. And the man has done that. So allow the man, is going to allow him to perform It's 2-year tenure. That's all. Let me tell you, when I say flight, myself, Ojegun, last week, earpiece, we came down. When we landed, many people came to meet him. So Ojegun, when you were there, you didn't stop this Baba now. He said no. But now, he's there now. He's not disturbing Obaseki. Allowing you to do his work. People are happy with him. That's the problem. Ask anybody. Go everywhere. Go and do survey. You will see that this man, he doesn't make noise, but his work is making noise for him.
Okay, thank you. Traditional rulers have come into this issue, and various stakeholders have also done that. What do you see as the very distinguished way forward in resolving this crisis?
Unfortunately, the matter is already in court.
Okay, so the court.
Whatsoever thing anyone is doing, they are just doing their own. Because the matter is there. So let everyone be patient to wait for the court decision. As long as they are finding it difficult to resolve themselves, they took the matter to court. They also can withdraw the matter. But the matter as it were now is in court.
Okay, but
sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
Don't
to say something. I'm sorry, sir.
All right.
Just for example, don't forget, just as a way to find peaceful solutions, that those people that are in Abuja now, that are in the hotel, they should come back home, go to code of conduct, fill your form, then go to meet the clerk. Clerk, we are sorry, forgive us. Then he will smile in. That's all. So you can get a salary, because when there's no salary, the money will finish. Come back. Let them swear in, then you get a salary. As of now, the clerk should not pay them.
Okay, but you are taking it too simple. You are taking it too simple. Those people who are in hotel in Abuja. Hold on. You are taking it too simple. I'm a pragmatist. Those who are in hotel in Abuja, can they fund themselves in Abuja? They cannot. Somebody is funding them, and that person does not want this case to be resolved. And they will be in court for the next 4 years. And when they are there, mind you, as I said before, they are legislators elect. They are not entitled to salaries. And the house is already sitting. My advice to them, come back home. The clock is ticking against you.
Okay, we have some period of
yes,
at which they should
yes,
be
if
yes.
they do not sit down.
That's the end.
That is the end. They are still
How many days? Are we looking at 120 days?
They can even record them. They are members. Their constituency can file a motion report.
Supposed to sit.
These people you see, they will call you back home.
So if they don't sit,
but can that hold since the case is in court?
Yes.
The court did not say that they must not be sworn in. Understand?
Yes.
The case is in court did not say these legislators elect should not be sworn in.
They are only fighting for speaker.
They are only fighting for speaker.
Speaker and deputy speaker.
And their aim, and those who are sponsoring them, is to appoint Mr. A as a speaker.
Okay, I want your voice on this, because you have the floor. I'll come back to you. You have the floor, Rotimi Egali. Because looking at what we have here and the whole stretch of time that could be left, should this count when the case is in court?
When the case is in court, for the fact that they are of one party, are you hearing me? So they are supposed to find a way to amicably resolve themselves. But the simple way out, like my learned colleague said, is for them to go and be sworn in. As soon as they are sworn in, if they have any matter as part of what they are agitating for, it's a different ballgame.
Okay, yeah, but the big question here is, though the court is not stopping them from being sworn in,
yes,
but as long as the case is in court, can there be any consequence for those who remain unsworn in, if we may put it that way? Will there be any consequence?
Certainly there will be consequence. There will be consequence. One, they have a period of time they must sit. And if they are not able to meet up with that, already they are asking themselves out. Besides, you are asking for now, none of them is receiving salary because they have not been sworn in. And the main purpose of going there is not because they want your welfare, because they want to earn money, and it's not forthcoming. There is a point they will reach and they will face frustration. Even the person pressing them to go and fight, a time will come, he will get tired. And you say, well, I've tried enough for you, but go and sort yourself out. The person who usually aid you to fight will not follow you to court.
Some argue that this whole issue is all to make the Edo State House of Assembly a rubber stamp of the executive, which these persons are trying to stop. What do you make of that, Rotimi Egage?
That is unfounded. That is not realistic.
Does this governor look like somebody who can make you a rubber stamp? Does this governor, who is more interested in his computer and doing his job? Do you see him jumping into gutter, measuring gutter? Have you seen him doing that?
I'm coming.
He's a practical man.
Wait, sorry. Okay,
Rotimi Egage has the floor.
oh, sorry.
No,
Thank you.
someone who is competent enough to be elected into a position, you get there to become a rubber stamp. Are you not doing yourself?
Let me ask you.
They feel you are mature, you are reasonable enough to represent the people, and you go there and you are doing the work of a rubber stamp. Does it make sense at all?
So you don't see the governor in that light of controlling the State House of Assembly?
In fact, Mr. Filippo,
Every executive we want to control. Are you listening?
I mean,
to me?
at the detriment of the people.
No, not at the
Mr. Philip, have you watched the proceeding when the stranded commissioner? It's not like a national assembly. They didn't say bow, take a bow. They examine them. They cross-examine them. That's why I like this speaker. Okoye, God bless that man. If you ask the man, he said they cross-examine them. They didn't say take a bow and go. Okoye is watching us. So what I'm saying, there's nothing like rubber stamp. Obaseki, before he spend kobo, he will check it very well. Before he will say, maybe he doesn't give money. Is it God getting? Maybe he will give it 10 naira or 20,000. He doesn't give money. But he work. I want to see him. He give me a handshake. We'll put it together.
Okay, thank you.
So that's it.
In case you're just watching,
Yes.
as TMI Tuesday, and I'm Philip from All Viewpoint. I've been having a chat with the custodians of the law, legal practitioners, and I've been having a chat with Barrister Olaiwola Folabi, and of course Barrister Rotimi Egage and Barrister A.B. Thomas, all in this aspect of the EDHA impasse and how to resolve this issue. Is the National Assembly a clock in the wheel of progress, or is it really helping to resolve these issues of the Edo State House of Assembly crisis? Well, looking at that, putting that aside, we also look at the aspect of the ministerial screening that entered its fourth day yesterday, and that's actually in the eye of the storm. And after 2 months of the president really taking oath for second term, the release of the ministerial list was noticed in the public. Though some say, well, it came late, but if we are to take a comparative look with that of the first step, we could say that it came much earlier. But looking at this, A.B. Thomas, we have this ministerial screening going on, and some are saying that, well, ministerial screening without portfolios in the ministerial list, how does the Senate really grill these nominees in their area of portfolios? Do you see that as a
Thank you very much. First of all, let me congratulate the president for being able to send ministerial list 2 months. Last time it was 6 months. So he has done well. But if you make me the president and I contest, I can tell you, before the election is declared, the results are declared, I know who will be my ministers. That's number one. Number two, the screening going on now is more of alawada, keri.
What does that mean?
It's a comedy. It's a comedy. The last Senate made a rule that whenever the president is saying the names of nominees for ministerial positions, the president should be kind enough to add their portfolios. Although it is not the constitutional requirement that you must add their portfolios, but you need to add their portfolios for effective screening of the ministers. You see somebody getting up and asking a lawyer, Belaye asking Keyamo, sing the national anthem. Is that screening? Is that screening? If you had said Keyamo is going to, you put by his name, Keyamo, nominee for the office of Attorney General and Minister of Justice, then there will be specific questions
For that
purpose. Now, Fashola is coming back again. We don't know whether he's going to combine the 3 most powerful positions of Minister of Works, Housing, and Power. One man. We don't know. So you cannot ask him that in 2014, you had said any government that cannot provide electricity within 3 months in power should be stoned. Are you now coming back as Minister of Power to prolong the darkness? You cannot skin him because you don't know the position he is going to have. So what you are finding there is a comedy. They are having good time to laugh and take a bow. You go. That is not screening. What we saw the National Assembly do here is called screening.
Okay.
But to say you are screening Abuja when you don't know the positions they are going to occupy, and you just come, you drink tea, and you ask them questions that are irrelevant to the portfolios they will eventually have, you are just bringing a group of politicians to come and make jest of themselves and go.
Okay.
That is not screening.
All right. What's your bite on this, Rotimi Egali?
What is going on now as per the National Assembly and those that they are screening, I see it as a matter of, like my learned senior said, this boju that children are used to.
Hide and seek.
Because, yes, because like he said before, yes, a legal magazine will use Reps Isaloquito. The issue speak for itself. You want to screen those who have woefully failed in the first place. They are returning the same people.
That's opinion.
Many of them
woefully failed.
Yes.
That's your opinion about
yes. Woefully. Are you talking about power? Do we have light today? Are you talking about housing? What is going on?
Does that rest in the persons or in the system? Because you're looking about performance, for instance. That's what you are looking at. And some ministers in the previous term of the president fell below performance. Does that rest in the persons or the system?
Both the person and the system. It's the person that operates the system. The system is not just an abstract thing. There are people who represent, who make the system to work. And they were brought in to make the system work.
Okay, but
and if they fail, why should, in the first place, send back the names
but a minister,
as if only these people exist in the country with such population?
A minister, for instance, is under the president and takes decisions from
the president. You are
taking
us the way you don't want to.
So are you not thinking that this also could be a drawback, not basically from the persons that really drive the office, but from above?
It's not a drawback. In the first place, they have created an impression to us from the beginning that the president is a man of integrity. That the president is there to fight corruption. Are you listening to me? Because if you tell me your friend, I tell you whom you are. Because if the people that are surrounding you, they are all corrupt people, and you say you are a man of integrity, then you force me to doubt your integrity. Why should people who have been governors and they fail woefully in governing their states, you put them as ministers and they fail woefully, then you are bringing them again? It's unreasonable. I don't know how to look at it.
Okay,
let me give you an example. Maybe because it's good to compare, to do comparative analysis.
Yes.
Let me give, as of now, Edo State is the only state that pays salary before 31st. The man we paid. In fact, somebody was calling me last week. He retired, a graduate staff in Abudu. He said, I've gotten my pension. Thank God for Basaki. I'm saying that. Go to Oshun. And I say that he's owing salary for more than 10 months or 20 months. Now, you now appointed him as a minister. That's why you say, woeful is there. You look at check. He's owing salary. They compared him. So what I'm saying?
He's a nominee, not a minister yet.
Yes, he's a nominee. What I'm saying?
I don't know confirm it.
Look at.
Do you have a choice?
So what I'm saying now, you not say, because you don't know their areas of portfolio. If you know that this is the area, like now, maybe now I'm appointed now to as a minister. Then you say you want to give me power. I don't know anything about power. But if you know this year I'm going to work, then they can even question me. Like now, the most important thing we even have is security. Look at last week, and somebody was going through they shot him. If you know the person who was going to man our security apparatus, maybe Minister of Interior or Minister of, they can ask questions. But now, we're just doing that. That's why somebody sent text to me on my WhatsApp. They say there's a new company in Abuja called Take Bow and Go. A new company has been established. That National Assembly, Take a Bow and Go company. That's it. We're not serious. The most important thing that is security. Nothing. Everybody just keep quiet.
Okay, let's look at the aspect where, in the course of the screening, the Bayelsa West Senator Lawrence Orejapo raised an issue concerning the Senate breaching a constitutional provision whereby before they go about screening these nominees, they should first ask about the certificates of their declaration of their assets. But that seemed not to feature. Do you see this as a requirement that could also stop the screening, or that could be a content or part of the screening?
The National Assembly is not supposed to be there just to receive guests and say, take a bow and go. No. Just if they were to do thorough job, this aspect is part of it. My friend, you want to be a minister. What is your qualification? But what we are saying is that the party has taken a decision behind you and me, behind the people you want to represent, that this man must be a minister, this man must be a minister, this man must be a minister. Or DSS has already screened them, EFCC has already screened them. Then what is the National Assembly there for? Why sending them for National Assembly? If the DSS and EFCC has done the screening, and let them go.
Are you saying that by that the National Assembly could do otherwise?
The National Assembly right now, they are not doing their job properly. Because you cannot come. Is that not how we had Salisu Buhari in Obasanjo's regime?
Yeah.
That was how we had Salisu Buhari, who came and said he went to university and he had no certificate.
Of Toronto.
University of Toronto. Now, when these people come, you are A.B. Thomas. Yes. You want to be a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We know the constitutional requirement for you to be a minister. We ask you, where is your school cert? Then we look at it.
Or have you declared your assets?
Or have you declared your assets?
Yes.
We look at all these things. But now it is not so. They have turned the National Assembly into a comedy center where politics is played, and the rest of us are meant to be looking at them at the screen as if we are in a cinema house.
Are you by that saying that this could be a yardstick to really start judging the 9th Senate as against the 8th?
Definitely. It's a yardstick to measure this. Let me tell you, those who were against the 8th Senate, I was in support of the 8th Senate. You need a robust Senate, not necessarily a combative Senate. You need a robust Senate that insists that the right things must be done. With this next Senate you are having, I can bet my certificate on it. You are going to have a robust Senate. Because he who plays the piper dictates the tone. You have given.
Is he always in every case?
Look, in politics.
Because we've always heard about that
in
dictum.
politics.
But is it always in every case?
It's always.
Because we have some developed democracies.
You are saying some developed. It's yours.
This dictum doesn't hold sway.
Sir, is your own politics here developed?
We're getting there.
Where you're getting there. Where a man sits down in Lagos, you allocate to him slots for ministerial position. Is that what is done? Excuse me. Not too long ago.
He's taking bow.
Take a bow. Look at the television. Taking a bow and go. Not too long ago, we had people like Soludo in government. We had people like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala in government. We had technocrats, people who have been tested and tried. We have people. Obasa just sent his own fellow friend, Afolabi, Chief Afolabi, to prison. The other woman from Anambra Aviation was asked to quit. These are, when you talk of integrity, that's what we call integrity. You are bringing people who does not have certificates They cannot show the certificates to the public to look at. You are bringing people who have no portfolios. We don't know where they are going to. You are bringing people who are not technocrats. I won't be surprised if you bring one Alhaji who read Islamic studies to become Minister of Finance.
Okay, let's go forward.
I won't be surprised.
Okay, let's look at, there are already criticisms, already reactions. Like Dr. Chris Ngige, the Nigeria Labour Congress is saying that the president should not make him return as Minister of Labour and Productivity. What do you think about that, Rotimi?
The people have right to express their opinions. And if they are saying so, then they must have find out that that person didn't do well. That is in implication. Because these are the people you are sending them to. And they are telling you they don't want this person because he has been there and he did nothing. So why should you? They have right to express their opinion, which they have done. Especially people who have been indicted before on the issue of corruption. We are not expecting to see any of these people, their names, in this appointment. What we are expecting is that New Breed and some other persons who probably have not been tried before, then when the Senate is going to screen them, they will sit down and look at their matter critically. But in this matter, what are we talking about? Let them go and face their charges. Let them go and clear the air. If you are my teacher and the students you are to teach, all of them are shouting they don't need you. What are you going to impart to them?
Okay, Olaiwola Falabi.
Yes, let me give you an example. You know, Keyamo was a prosecutor counsel for EFCC many years ago. That's trying Governor Silva of Bayelsa. In fact, EFCC seized above 60 houses. They mark it and seize it. They got the court order to forfeit all the houses. About either 40 or 60. Now, during this regime, he went to contest for election in Bayelsa as a governorship. In the took of an eye, the EFCC withdraw the charges. They give him all the houses that were forfeited. They give to him back. He lost. Now, he's now as a minister. Somebody that was EFCC wrote a report. They seized all his houses. Now they give him back. He's now a minister. Keyamo.
He's a nominee.
He's a nominee.
They will clear them.
They will clear him. Now Keyamo, who was trying now, he now begin to look at himself. You know, the integrity has fallen in the country.
Okay.
That's the problem. It shows.
Okay.
That's the problem. If it should be during the Saraki, they won't allow him to enter. They will stop him.
Okay, reacting to this, A.B. Thomas, your final words in all of this.
The screening going on now at the National Assembly is a small screen to bring back incompetent and corrupt persons as ministers. Then, as to the House of Assembly in Edo State, we want peace here. We don't want any distraction for the governor. Those who have made themselves government pickings should go and look for work to do and leave the governor to perform. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Pastor Rotimi Egale.
I want to appeal to the Senate, the House, the National House, to do their work thoroughly and do a good representation of the people who place them there. Whenever they are faced with any tax, national tax, such as the screening that is going on now. And for Edo State, let those who are yet to be sworn in find their way to go back and be sworn in so that the matter in court can become a moot case.
Okay, thank you. Olaiwola Falabi.
Just two things. One, every good people in Edo State should be praying for Obaseki. That's all. Two, all those legislators in Abuja, come back home, go and declare your assets, then the clerk will now swear in. Otherwise, their constancy, a time will come. They will file a motion to record them, and they will go back home. That's all.
Thank you, Olaiwola Falabi. Thank you, Rotimi Egale, and of course, A.B. Thomas, for this very robust discussion. Well, a lot has been said here concerning the EDHA on-pass and, of course, the ministerial screening. And it's expected that, well, some bite concerning how to make the country better in general, and of course the state, the government functionaries will look into that, and stakeholders, the parties involved, will come round the table, and resolve the issue. If there's no round table, they should sit on the ground and resolve the issue. Well, this is where we'll call it a wrap on the discussion segment, but TMI still continues. Shortly, we'll bring you insurance segment. Stay with me.
The world is a global village.
And that's because information travels beyond boundaries.
And on This Morning on ITV, we guarantee unbiased analysis on topical issues
that will educate you,
entertain you.
So join us.
Join us.
Join us. Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Every Sunday to Thursday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television, This Morning on ITV.